All right, let's get real for a second. I want you to picture two different versions of a completely ordinary Tuesday. Version 1, your phone buzzes. It's your bank app. You open it. Your stomach does that little pre-cringe twist. You see the number, and you immediately close it. You make a mental note. Okay, ramen for dinner? Again. That coffee you were about to buy? Suddenly, it feels like a luxury you have to justify. Every single decision gets filtered through this lens of scarcity. Now, version 2, same phone buzz, same bank app. You open it, and instead of that wave of low-grade dread, you feel nothing. Neutral. Maybe even a tiny flicker of quiet satisfaction. You're not checking because you're scared. You're checking because you're curious. That coffee? It's just a coffee. The groceries? You get what you need. The wait is just gone. What separates these two realities? It's not a six-figure salary. It's not a trust fund. It's not winning the lottery. It's crossing a single, specific, and wildly misunderstood financial threshold. A number that acts less like a savings goal and more like a psychological force field. And after years of diving into financial psychology and the real math of building wealth here in America, I found that number to be $20,000 in liquid savings. My name is James. I've spent the last decade obsessing over why money feels the way it does and why some Americans break free from the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, while others, even those making good money, feel perpetually stuck. Yeah, if you're tired of financial advice that sounds like it's for someone else's life and you want the real, actionable psychology and strategy behind wealth building, you're in the right place. Now, before we get into the why, and trust me, we're going deep, I need to ask you, when you hear wealth building, what do you picture? Be honest. Is it some guru on a stage with a Lamborghini? A spreadsheet with $1 million target that feels like a mountain you're supposed to climb in flip-flops? Or is it just that vague, exhausting idea of sacrificing now for later, which feels like signing up for a life of constant no? What if I told you that's all wrong? That wealth building isn't a slow, linear grind from 0 to 1 million? That instead, there are specific, explosive tipping points, and the first, most critical one, is hiding in plain sight at $20,000. This isn't about becoming rich. This is about achieving something far more powerful, financial autonomy. And $20,000 is the down payment on that autonomy. It's the point where the gravity of your financial life subtly shifts, from working against you to working for you. Think of it like launching a rocket. The vast majority of the fuel, the effort, the sheer thrust is used just to break free from Earth's atmosphere, to escape that relentless gravitational pull of scarcity, of bill anxiety, of what if. Once you're in orbit, everything changes. The rules are different. Movement requires less force. The perspective is utterly transformed. $20,000 is your financial escape velocity. But here's what almost every piece of financial advice misses. The transformation isn't just in your bank account, it's in your brain. And understanding this is the key to everything. Part 1. The survival mode trap. When your financial cushion is thin or non-existent, your brain isn't just stressed. It enters a state neuroscientists call survival mode, a scarcity mindset. This isn't a metaphor. This is literal, measurable biology. When your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, complex decisions, impulse control, is constantly hijacked by financial anxiety, it depletes your cognitive bandwidth. It's like trying to run a brand new sophisticated app on a 10-year-old smartphone with 100 other apps running in the background. It lags, it crashes. It can only handle the most immediate, urgent tasks. What does this look like in real American life? You take the first job offer you get, even if it's a dead end, because you can't afford a week without a paycheck. You stay in a toxic living situation because the security deposit to move feels like an impossible mountain. You say yes to work you hate because no is a luxury word. You avoid opening bills. You feel a spike of anxiety every time your car makes a weird noise. Your financial planning horizon shrinks to about 2 weeks, the next paycheck. Anything beyond that is a blur of stress. A famous Princeton study found that the cognitive burden of poverty can cost a person the equivalent of 13 or 14 IQ points. You are literally, measurably less capable of making good life decisions when you're in financial survival mode. Your brain is too busy putting out fires to design a fireproof house. This is the brutal trap. Slow, clear. So, how do you break the cycle? You don't do it with a budget alone. You do it by creating a biological escape pod for your brain. You give your prefrontal cortex the space to breathe, and that requires a buffer so substantial, it convinces your primal hindbrain that the emergency is over. The data points to needing 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. For most Americans, that lands squarely between $15,000 and $25,000. Let's call our target $20,000. When you have that sitting in a high-yield savings account, something switches. The what-if scenarios lose their teeth. What if my car breaks down? I have a fund. What if I get sick? I'm covered. What if my job gets weird? I have runway. The constant background anxiety app closes down. And for the first time, your brain has the RAM to run a new program, the Growth and Opportunity Program. Part 2, the math shift. Okay, psychology lesson over. Let's talk cold, hard, beautiful math, because this is where the $20,000 threshold goes from a psychological comfort to a mathematical powerhouse. Let's say you're saving $750 a month. That's $9,000 a year, a solid, disciplined American effort. You're investing it in a broad, low-cost index fund. How long to get your first $20,000? About 22 months, almost 2 years of grinding, of saying no. This is the pushing the boulder up the hill phase. Energy picks up. But here's the secret no one celebrates. Your second $20,000 comes faster. Why? Because now you're not just saving $750 a month. You have your first 20 grand already in the market, working alongside you. That second milestone takes roughly 19 months. You shaved off 3 months for doing the exact same thing. Compound interest has officially shown up to the party. Let's fast forward. By the time you're working on your 10th $20,000, hitting $200,000, the timeline collapses. That next chunk might take only 10 to 12 months. And once you cross $400,000, your investments alone can generate over $30,000 a year. You're now saving a full $20,000 every single year without lifting a finger. The same amount that took a brutal 2-year climb at the beginning is now generated automatically. This is the ultimate hidden truth. The first $20,000 is the hardest money you will ever save. Every dollar after that is incrementally easier. The engine is built. You're just adding fuel. Part 3, the opportunity cost awakening. When you're in survival mode, every decision is about cash flow. Can I afford the monthly payment? When you cross the autonomy threshold, your vision clears. You start seeing opportunity cost, the invisible price tag on every dollar. This is the most transformative skill in finance. Take the classic American wealth destroyer, the car. The average new car payment is over $700 a month. Let's take a conservative $600. If you invested that $600 every month from age 25 to 65 in a retirement account averaging 8% return, you would have over $2.1 million. Let me rephrase. The average car payment over a working lifetime is a multi-million-dollar decision. When you have $20,000 saved, you don't look at a $40,000 SUV and think, wow, $699 a month. You think, is this vehicle worth more to me than $2 million in future freedom? Suddenly, the reliable used sedan for $15,000 cash doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like a strategic masterstroke. You just bought yourself years of independence. This awakening applies to everything: housing, subscriptions, lifestyle inflation. You stop sweating the $4 coffee. You start strategically attacking the $400,000 and $4,000 monthly decisions. Part 4, career leverage. This might be the most powerful immediate benefit. It changes your relationship with work. Some call it the FU fund. I call it professional integrity capital. When you live paycheck to paycheck, you are, in economic terms, a hostage. You need your job more than it needs you. With $20,000 in the bank, representing 6 months of runway, you are unshackled. You're not reckless, but you are now negotiating from strength, not desperation. This changes everything. You ask for the raise because the worst they can say is no. You push back on unrealistic deadlines. You spot and pursue real opportunities. You can take a calculated risk. The paradox? You often never have to use the money. The mere possession of it changes your posture, your confidence. People sense it. You stop radiating need and start radiating value. That attracts better opportunities, better treatment, and yes, more money. It's a virtuous cycle. Part 5. The strategy, your battle plan. This isn't about magic. It's a sequence. Follow these steps in order. Phase 1. The $1,000 emergency buffer. Stop the bleeding. Before anything else, save $1,000 as fast as humanly possible. This is your circuit breaker. Phase 2. The debt avalanche. Clear the decks. List all consumer debt from highest interest rate to lowest. Attack the top one with everything you have. Roll each victory into the next. You can't build on a crumbling foundation. Phase 3. The $20,000 autonomy fund. This is the mission. Tactic 1. The big audit. Use an app to see where your money actually goes for 90 days. You will be shocked. Tactic 2. Attack the big 3. Housing, transportation, food. A 10% reduction here can free up $500 to $1,000 a month. Tactic 3. Increase income, non-negotiable, upskill, ask, start a scalable side hustle, negotiate. Tactic 4. Automate and segregate. Set up an automatic transfer to a separate high-yield savings account the day you get paid. Name it Autonomy Fund. Out of sight, out of mind. Tactic 5. Windfall strategy. Tax returns, bonuses, gifts. 50% minimum goes to the fund. No debate. Phase 4. From saver to investor. Once the fund is secure, keep 3 to 6 months' expenses in that savings account as your permanent safety net. Any excess begins its journey into the market. Open a Roth IRA or a taxable brokerage. Invest in low-cost, broad market index funds. Your first $1,000 invested is a monument. Celebrate it. Conclusion. The old American dream was about accumulation. A house, a car, stuff. It was external. The new American dream is about autonomy. It's the internal peace of knowing you are the author of your life, not a character buffeted by economic winds. $20,000 is the key that starts that engine. It's the number where you stop being a passenger and take the driver's seat, where compound interest shifts from a fairy tale to a trusted employee, where your career becomes a chosen path, not a forced march, where your brain gets its power back. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, and it's a get-free-sure strategy. It's the most important journey you will ever take because it's the journey back to your own agency. Start today, right now. Open a new browser tab. Research one high-yield savings account. Look at your last bank statement. Do one thing, then do another. Your future self, the calm, confident, autonomous person who checks their bank account with quiet assurance, is counting on you, and they are so worth building for. Music swells softly. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to build your autonomy fund, do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up. It tells the algorithm this stuff matters. Subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology and strategy of real wealth. And most importantly, comment below with one step you're going to take this week toward your first 20,000. Let's build a community of people designing their futures, one smart decision at a time. Thanks for watching. Remember, wealth isn't about what you have. It's about what you've built for yourself. Now go build.